This is Sport Night Amplified with Andile, powered by SABC Sport. Exclusive to Metro FM. Game over.
South Africa must rise and address and respect the rights of workers and rights, in particular the rights of women. And we are definitely looking at this space because we have already registered this with the minister and the ministry in the Department of Sport about these issues. But then he cannot have his cake and eat it, and lying to the nation that the women, they didn't want to go and play the game because at 12:30 they were already ready to go and play. They protect even those that he's going to bring at the spot. Enough is enough with Danny Jordan and his NEC.
That is the voice of the president of the South African Football Players Union in South Africa, SAFPU. Thulaganya Gaoshebelwe. Hopefully we're going to be having him come into studio, failing which we'll give him a call because I want to give him the hour. I spoke to him the whole weekend. I saw what he did, literally standing as the barrier between Banyana and everything else. Today's conversation is one of national importance. We here at the SABC are partners with the South African Football Association, proudly so, because what they have in their hands is something of national importance. It is Bafana that bear you and I's flag and represent me and you. It is Banyana who carry the same creed. It is every single national team in this country that falls under the leadership of Danny Jordan and the South African Football Association. It is unlike when we don't like something in Marumo Gallants, where as supporters, as outsiders, we can voice our comments to say we support this and we would like to see things go this way. This is something that involves you and I. It is of national importance. They bear the same flag on their hearts, on their chest, as what you and I do. When they go out there, they say they are South Africa. They're not their individuals. The South African flag and the crest of South Africa is in the front. Their surnames are behind them. Because what comes first is you and I in that flag. Let me speak a little bit of English. When you say somebody's tone deaf, what does that mean? If you go to the very dictionary meaning of it, it means you're unable to perceive differences in sound. That's me. Musically, definitely tone deaf. But what does it mean in colloquialism that you and I use every day? To be tone deaf is not understanding how people feel about something, a subject, or a need to a particular situation, something we accuse our politicians of not knowing on a daily. The South African Football Association today proved that they are tone deaf to the needs of South Africans and in particular those of Banyana. The leadership of the South African Football Association today by announcing that there will be a new sponsorship that comes in with all of this fanfare and flare in a press conference where Chad Clayt, whom I sit with in the studio, asked the president as well as the CEO of the South African Football Association if this sponsorship of Bafana that is glaringly being paraded in front of us includes Banyana, to which they said no. So yesterday, Banyana could not get anything equal as far as treatment to what Bafana get. They could not play in a stadium that equates to the one that Bafana would play in. They did not get the treatment as far as remuneration is concerned as what Bafana do. But today, so tone deaf, you go and you announce a big sponsorship for a team going to the Africa Cup of Nations. Amazing. We are so proud of them. But the team going to the World Cup, not a part of it. Our women's team. Welcome to it. It's going to be that type of show. 12 of the hour 6. My name is Andile Ncube and welcome to Sports Night Amplified with Andile on the Mighty Metro FM. Thank you so much to Touch and his team. They do it again tomorrow between 3 and 6. Furthermore, you say to, this is after there was a parade. In order to elect the 26 players going to the World Cup, there was a parade. South Africans were involved in it. It was live on the SABC. We said, here they are, 26 of them going to the World Cup. The first thing you do on a Sunday morning, because you do not agree with what they have to say when they voice out their opinions, is you say you are irreplaceable. You are irreplaceable. And absolutely anyone, not anybody special, not anybody who's worked hard enough to be able to wear the crest of South Africa, but anyone can wear the jersey of Banyana. You went and you took that jersey and you took the meaning out of it. It's 13 after the hour 6. But there was a song. It was very popular on the socials because an older lady had gone on and become a sensation. Obani lababantu. Do you remember that? It was a question that many of us asked ourselves on Sunday. Let's take a break. When we come back, I want to speak to... Actually, we can do it right now. I see he is on the line. Who were the players that were on the field on Sunday, and how did it come that if players at 10 o'clock in the morning are saying, hey, we're not sure we want to play this, we still need conversations to be had, how do you easily just replace them like that? Joseph Skesham Konza is the man that is at the helm of the team that provided a bulk of the players that showed up on Sunday. He now joins us on the line. Baba Konza, Skesha, always great to have you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Skesha, ngibona ama-players akamaningi egqoka ijezi lebafana playing Banyana playing and representing our national pride on Sunday. How did it come that your players ended up there?
Okay. Kahle angifuni ukukhuluma ngale ndaba ngoba nami party kahle. Yeah, but I can say that I was phoned by SAFA and then was asked to provide players because some of the players are on strike. That's what happened. That's all I can say.
But Mkonza, SAFA is an institution. They can't make a call. Who called you?
No, the manager.
The team manager?
Yeah.
And then you went and you got your players. What time was this call made on Sunday?
Definitely, I'm not sure about the time because I was at Reset Park watching the playoffs of the fighting SAP League teams. And then after the first game, which was playing at 9 o'clock, I left and I came back home. I was preparing myself to go to Tsakane to watch Banyana. Then on the way, I got called. I don't remember exactly what time was it.
And how old were the players that you provided? I mean, these are players that don't even play in the Hollywood Bates. They play in the Sasol leagues, if I'm correct. How old were the players that you provided, and how did you even choose players to go represent Banyana? What do you even say to them, Skesh?
To tell you the truth, I found all the players that plays in my team that plays around my place. Some of them, they are 12-year-old, 14-year-old, but when we got to the field, I was told that they want players that are 16 years old and up to 20 years old only.
So you showed up with 13-year-olds and 12-year-olds, and they said they'll only take the ones that are 16?
Yeah.
So the youngest player that you had as part of your team with no experience of playing next to a crowd like that, of no experience of playing in a professional setup, 16-year-old represented Banyana over the weekend?
That's why I say you must answer for the
Skesha, I appreciate it. Were you even told why there was an issue, Skesha? Were you just told, no, the strike, bring players?
No, I was not told that. I was not told anything.
No, I appreciate it, Skesha. Thank you so much for coming on.
All right, thanks.
Yeah. 17 after the hour 6. The president of the South African Football Players Union sits with me. SABC's Chad Clate sits with me as well, gentlemen. Welcome to it. President, I don't even know how to feel about that. A call was made to Uskesha to say, hey, you have a team in the Sasol League. Please bring us players. He showed up with 12 and 13-year-olds, and based on what they look like, they chose with you're 16, you're come and play. We'll get to that, though. You were at the field. I'm gonna give you a blank check, President, to say, set the scene for us as far as South Africans listening in right now, wanting to know why is it that Banyana didn't take to the field on Sunday?
Thank you very much, Andile. Let me say hi to you and your listeners. I'm happy to see Clate here with me. He was there with us all the way. But let me upfront say, Andile, SAFA, SAFPU, I think have agreed, SAFA, SAFPU, on behalf of Banyana have agreed to a process The process that says we need to sit down and iron out our differences. The differences that would have really brought us where we are today. And I think there are many lessons to be learned. We'll get to that. That's the first part. So we've agreed to that process. That's it. We will cease and stop all hostilities. It's okay that would happen. But I think before I even paint that picture, it is important for us to really appreciate what these ladies that you are talking about who represented South Africa, because they didn't have much knowledge. They were called to fill in, called to go and defend the country, and they did exactly that. Unfortunately, they were found wanting. They could not compete with a strong Botswana. But because of not their own doing, but because we could not do the things that we ought to have done. And that's where the challenge was. And I think I must put it up front, Andile, to say, those who would have watched on television, those who would have gone through the social media, would have seen that Banyana, the 23 women's squad that was announced plus the standbys by SAFA on the 23rd of June were at the stadium at some point. And just precisely because they wanted to go and support those women, but simply because they also wanted to convey the message to the nation that, nope, we are ready to play for the nation. It is not quite true that we didn't want to play for the nation. At the heart of all these things, which the process that was facilitated by the Premier of Gauteng addressed, was the issue around the contractual agreements or disagreements with the players. And within the contracts that we must then sit with SAFA to discuss, it's around the issues of finances, of course, the issues of working conditions. And we don't think those things are really illegitimate.
And that's important because the narrative that is out is that they just didn't want to go play because it's Tsakane Stadium. That is a point, and it is a point that we will address as well, because it's an important and a big point. Yeah. But that is not the only issue that is being held within that camp.
Yeah. No, we will definitely talk about that, but we won't delve much into these things because we have agreed to a process, and I think that these are some of the issues that we'll raise. However,
I want you to take a deep breath and have a thought about it. I want to take a very quick break. Okay. Please do note, we have invited South African Football Association, but we're told that the CEO is in back-to-back meetings and would not be able to take us. And as far as the president is concerned, you've been on this show listening to it long enough to know what the answer to Danny Jordan coming on this here show is. 24 after the hour 6. It's the Monday after the Sunday before. Yesterday, we saw South Africans of all creeds standing up and asking questions. Those saying, Banyana, are they greedy? What is it that they're looking for? Is it too much to wear the national team colors? Is it too heavy on them? And should they be the one that have been picked? You've got another side that says, no, it is about time we stop and think about how we treat women in particular, but sports people in this country. Joining me in studio is SAFPU President Thulaganyo Raoshobelwe, as well as Chet Clate, who will a little bit later on dive into matters of Kaizer Chiefs announcing 6 signings, one of the worst kept secrets in football. Swallows completing an impressive Steve Compella coup, Hashim Domingo, who finally clears the air around his Sundowns exit, and much more. Thulaganyo, I want us to paint the picture for those that are at home hearing this for the first time. Banyana on Sunday say, well, we hear they're not going to the stadium, they will not be playing. The issue that first comes out is that the stadium to which they've been asked to go play, Tsakane Stadium, is not a stadium that they feel is worthy of a national team going to the World Cup. Its condition, the way it looks, and also where it is, it's just they're not feeling queen enough to go play there. So let's perhaps begin with that. Was there issues with the stadium that they're going to play at?
They don't feel queen to play there?
This is me asking.
Damn. Anyway, I think let's put this into context. And I've declared upfront that we have agreed to a process where we're going to negotiate. But I think it's equally important that we take the nation into confidence what brought us to where we are. What brought us to where we are was on the issues of contractual, which were very contractual in nature, as well as which would include finances as well. Yes, we're getting there. Finances as well as the tools of trade. I mean, everybody needs to perform their responsibilities within an environment that will enable to play better. You would know better yourself. You cover sports extensively than some of us do. All sports. I mean, we know that just in this year, twice the PSL rejected that stadium, for an example, to say no, we cannot play there because there's clay and grass, and you know exactly what happens when you play in clay. In actual fact, when you play cricket, you would understand exactly that what makes that particular surface that's very hard. What kind of they put what kind of soil is there as well as grass that makes it the ground to do that. And FIFA is very strict in terms of where the players can go and play. And we've raised this thing, and we are raising this thing as a principle to say, if it is not good for the male professionals, then surely it's not going to be good for any other person that wants to play in that.
So the stadium, Tsakani Stadium,
the
where
stadium itself
Banyana was sought to go play.
Yeah, where Banyana played.
A makeshift Banyana.
Yeah, I mean, I also, Chula, we must be very honest about what that was, you know. Here we are. It's a stadium that the PSL has said, for PSL reasons, this is not fit enough to play.
Doesn't meet
it does not meet the basic status of FIFA, right? So therefore, PSL matches cannot happen there. Twice it was rejected. Yet SAFA found it fit to say, let Banyana go play there. That's point one. Okay.
Well, I guess SAFA will speak for themselves on that particular matter.
SAFA are definitely not going to speak.
Yeah, no, they'll speak on that if they want to. We're not going to speak on behalf of SAFA on those particular matters. But however, to express a view that says, in events of this magnitude, surely there must be proper planning in terms of what needs to happen. We know exactly. I mean, this is public knowledge that we know that FIFA, of course, advances what you call preparation fees going into the preparations of the game. Zambia has gone into these games. You know, they've made proper arrangements. They're based in Germany. They are this kind of caliber of the team that they are playing with and so forth and whatnot.
I'm going to play dumb a little bit here in almost leaguing what you're saying. So what I'm understanding from that is that FIFA says to all the nations that have qualified for the World Cup, here is money to the association for the use of preparing this team to come to the World Cup. So in doing that, to say, if you need games to play, if you need whatever it is that you need to prepare yourself to come to the World Cup, there is funds that is given to the association. Is that what I'm understanding?
No, that's what I'm saying, Andile. And I'm saying to you, I'm raising this issue in the context of what was agreed. And by the way, we played a major role here at the level of FIFPro in ensuring that all these things are done. In particular, the finances that will go to the players, as well as that goes to the team, you understand, to the associations. Now, FIFA says, I'll give you 1 million. This is public knowledge. It has to be public knowledge. If it's not there, then we don't know.
You can Google this.
Yeah, you can Google that. It's about 1 million. There's 1 million that has to go into this space. What do you then do with that?
That's $1 million.
That $1 million.
Yeah,
and
that is almost
$1
20 million rands.
20 million rands for preparations. As to how they use it, it's a different story. We're not going to delve into that because we don't know what really transpired. But it further goes to say, if the team qualifies, the teams would get about 690,000. And we are raising these issues because when you read the social media, a lot of people were just hating on Banyana, saying Banyana are greedy, this, that, and the other, which is not really quite true. And we'll come back to this whole issue of how this team probably got to be at Tsakani yesterday. Now, they're saying Banyana will get about 30,000. We're just talking the conditions. 30,000 for appearing at the stadium, at the World Cup. When they go to the next stage, last 16, they get about 60.
Yep.
When they go 90. From 90, it's about 120, and they get all that. So
this is dollars.
This is dollars.
We're speaking about the money that FIFA gives to each player in dollars per match.
Per match.
So by qualifying and going to the World Cup,
not per match, per stage.
Per stage. So by going to the World Cup, $30,000 each is due to the players.
Absolutely.
If they progress, then the money
Absolutely.
progresses, as you've said.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. That's public knowledge.
That is public knowledge.
You have got a club, a team itself qualifies to get about 690. I need to refer, but they get, this is the stages, the just participating, they get 690,000 USD.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that. You go to about 11,700 and something. So all these monies are there. And these are the monies that have been set aside so that you can prepare the team better in terms of doing and this. Now, this goes back to the issue that we are saying. Part of it, we must look to say, how do we then prepare for major events? How do we deal with that? What is our planning around these particular issues? Now, their discussions would have then emanated. The squad gets selected, Andile, from where we are. The players are given a contract to say, here's a contract that you need to sign. The players come back and say, okay, thank you, we want to input, to make our own inputs. These are the things that we require in that particular contract. And those issues are for the discussions with SAFA. But I'm saying there are these outstanding issues that we must discuss with SAFA to say, we want these things. Yes, we know that there's this that is available from the FIFA side. But also we want to engage with yourself as SAFA to say, from where we're sitting, what happens. You would recall that some time back a decision would have been taken to say Bafana gets about 60,000 rent for a game, when they play the qualifiers. And Banyana therefore have been moved to there. Now, we're moving from a space that says Banyana by resolution must get about 60,000 as well. So that's where we are. So our
What are they getting at the moment?
We don't know what they're getting at the moment because we still need to have a discussion. But I know that the discussions that would have...
But it's not the 60 that Bafana are getting.
No, there have been reports that says probably everybody else would go to 40 or 20 to get that. But we're talking the issues of equality and so. But those things will raise them sharply in our discussions with the association to say these are the things that we want to discuss. But we'll also raise all these issues that we are raising, that we have raised yesterday with the minister, because tomorrow we are meeting with the minister to just appraise him, of the issues where we are, to say this is where we are. But what really made us to be where we were yesterday is when we would have received a message yesterday, Andile, from the manager that said Banyana was supposed to have probably left because they didn't want to play. But the message that was communicated with, we strongly believe that was not correct. That said Banyana didn't want to play for the nation, and which we knew very well that it was not true. But of course, you would recall, and you would also know that you were there, Chet, yesterday when the Premier of Gauteng addressed, and he refuted that claim, and he was very clear in terms of that to say one of the things that would have agreed in that particular meeting, and we are conveying what the Premier conveyed already, that Banyana had said no. At no point did they say they don't want to play for the national squad. They were always ready, and that is why you saw them at the stadium to say we want to.
But let's be clear on this. They didn't want to play at that stadium.
No, Banyana wanted to play, but
at that stadium,
Banyana. You see, before you even get to that part, Banyana wanted to be.
They
engaged.
wanted to play. I get that, and
they
we
want
agree
to
with
play,
it.
but we must be engaged on the matters. I'm saying,
if they want to play at Tsakani Stadium,
they wanted
were they
to be
willing
engaged.
to play at at Tsakani Stadium?
Banyana wanted to don the jersey of the national team and play for the nation. However, they had raised the issues
So
about.
We're going around it. It's a simple one.
Yeah, let me try and
Did
play.
they want to play at? They wanted to play. I agree. They got onto the bus. They wanted to play, but did they want to play at that particular stadium?
But I got into the bus. The fact that at 12:30, because the program wanted them on that bus at 12:30, they were inside that bus. They were on that bus, on their way to the stadium. All right, and these are the issues to say. Okay, despite us raising these particular issues that we cannot be playing under these conditions, but however, we have been called to do the national duty. We are getting and jumping onto that bus, and we want to do.
There was a meeting
Banyana
held
was there
at the team hotel. where Banyana said that they were uncomfortable and did not want to play at that stadium.
They were uncomfortable, but they didn't do. But I'm saying, Andile, there are two things.
I'll ask it to you simply again. As a representation of the South African Football Players Union as a president, did they want to go play at Tsakane Stadium? Were they willing to go play, or was that one of the issues to say they don't want to play at that particular stadium?
And those issues were raised sharply to say we don't want to play at that place because it's not FIFA compliant.
That's all I wanted.
No, but we can't leave it at that.
No, I agree with you. The rest is there. They wanted to
play. No, we must clarify. Because you see, the message that's been sent on the basis of the statement that we just made is that Banyana didn't want to get onto that bus and go play.
No,
it's not true. So I'm saying
that's why you're clearing it up.
Yes, I'm saying to you at 12:30, because they were given a program that by 12:30 we are leaving. We should be leaving the camp or the hotel that they were. Therefore, they were there at 12:30 to go and play at the stadium. Why? I mean, the simple thing that it was supposed to have done was to wait until Banyana gets to the stadium and see whether Banyana were going to play. But I can tell you that they had their tools of trade, they had their boots and everything going to the stadium, as it were. As to whether the game would have taken place, it's a different matter that we can deal with.
Chad, you were there as well.
Stage. Yeah. So, as from what I understand, and Tulahanya's mentioned it, I think there's been agents put out on social media. Being fed information, misleading information, that is. And they were trending on social media yesterday, painting a picture of, these prima donnas, the players, they asking for unreasonable requests and all that. But basically, from what I spoke to one or two of the players on the sidelines, and, I obviously can't mention names because those players obviously fear victimization. But the issue was not, when you play under protest, you're still going to play. You don't protest and then say we're not going to play. So they were basically playing under protest to say that here's our issues, please address it. And then it was twisted to say that no, these players don't want to play because X, Y, Z, and they want money, rather than the real issue, which was the standard of the pitch based on the PSL obviously
saying it wasn't good enough. FIFA standards not being
And by
made.
the way, money forms a material fact.
And
in
that's
terms
what I
of the contract.
I completely agree.
So we
it is
can't
important.
be sitting here and pretending that money is not important.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
No, it can't be. We must be able to agree to say there are things that we need to do. We sit here, all of us, because we've got work to do at the end of the day or the month or minutes.
There must be remuneration.
There must be remuneration. So we must not take that view that begins to suggest that Banyana are not entitled to be getting what they ought to be getting.
Speaking of that, you said a little bit earlier, and it is common knowledge. You can look it up. Banyana, by mere fact of being in the group stages, that entitles each player, as per FIFA, $30,000.
Yeah.
Correct. That $30,000, is it given to them via SAFA or is it given to them directly? That's one.
Via the association.
Via the association. Has that been met? Is that part of their contract to say, as per FIFA, do we know for sure that money that comes from FIFA that is meant for the players, that has been given to them, or rather that has been set out in contract to say we will be giving you this, and each stage as it progresses and the money progresses, you will be getting 60 if you make it to the last 60, 90 if you make it to the quarters, etc., etc. Has that part at least been sorted out contractually?
No, and that then would then form part and parcel of the discussions that we'll be having with SAFA, to say, SAFA, this is that, and what are our expectations? Because whatever the remuneration, whether you agree with it, whether Andile pumps about 20 rands there towards upkeep of Banyana, or as a daily allowance, those things must find their place or their way into the contract of Banyana. So in terms of the discussions that we are going to have, contractual discussions, those are the issues that we want.
But there is a contract at the moment, right? I mean, they're in camp at the moment, meaning that they've been chosen. So there is a contract.
No,
at the
they
moment.
haven't signed the contract, but the contract
there is a contract
to themselves.
Yes, what I'm asking is, of the contract that they've got at the moment, does it include those monies? What is the monies being offered to them as per the contract that has been proposed to them right now? Is what I'm asking.
What I'm saying to you is that there's a contract that's been proposed.
Yes, that contract.
Quite a number.
What is in it?
There are quite a number of things that are omitted in that contract. We have including the issues that we need to talk about,
which is money of
remuneration.
So what is in the contract now as far as money is concerned?
No, we don't have a lot insofar as that is concerned. So those are some of the issues that we have proposed. So we need to get ourselves to the table and discuss and see how best we can deal with those matters. So if I were to give you that contract today, we sign it. And that's the basis of where we are today, to say we could not agree with them because fundamentally we have not agreed on these particular matters. And by the way,
because there's nothing binding in that contract.
Nothing. There is nothing. Besides it not being signed, there's absolutely not much in terms of the things. But we have submitted our proposal to that, which we are not going to discuss here at this point. But we'll, of course, take yourselves into confidence at the appropriate time.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, Chad, I'll let you have your piece there. Remember, 1845, that's our time. 086-000-2160. WhatsApp on 060-552-7303. It's the Mighty Metro FM. It's 6:43 on the Mighty Metro FM. It's Sports Unamplified with Andile. We've got the president of SAFPU with us at the moment. Tula, what if I say to you that I'm privy to the contract? I've seen the contract that Banyana had been given. And if I say to you that there's absolutely no place or space or text or page where it speaks about any sort of remuneration at all.
And what I can say is that I will tell you that in our submission, we have made recommendations and we have made our inputs. And those inputs that we have made includes the financial remuneration.
You know, I
can tell you that much.
Anybody that is employed by anyone, as what these ladies have been employed by the South African Football Association, the basic thing in a contract, I have it, Chad, you have it, Tule, you have it, is that you put in how much I am getting paid.
No, absolutely.
There is not a single amount that is put there to say, just by being here, you're going to get 200 rands a day to go buy food because you're in a foreign country. You're going to get 50 rands, so if you have needs as a woman, you're able to sort those needs out. The fact that there's not a single amount of money written in that contract, not only is it illegal, but I mean, it's tantamount to...
we're on record saying that. I mean, yesterday you referred us, we're on record on saying that there are certain things, many of them, that are not included in the contract. And it is an opportunity for all the stakeholders to agree, to sit and say, here the thing, what constitutes a contract? And I think we really need to deal with that. But these issues do not start now. These issues were supposed to have been addressed long time ago, to say, we have qualified. We knew that we have qualified for the World Cup. We knew that we would qualify for big tournaments. How do we then deal with that? You know, so that everybody else is able to own, you know, this tournament and own this participation, because we always expect women. For an example, you have Hollywood bet the league, and I think part of the problem that we are sitting with is because that league itself, it perpetuates this poverty and some of the discussions that we ought to be having, because a player at that league would be getting about 1,000 rand as an allowance going home. Now, if that player comes here and get exposed to the national squad, for an example, and we come and say, I can give you 2,000 for this, they may not be able to do that. And we must not even underplay or undermine the role that these women, the unity among these women, because that alone has managed to, you know, elevate their issues. Unfortunate part is that we are at a very snail's pace in terms of addressing the issues that we need to address of Banyana.
I called South African Football Association tone deaf in my opening because today they have a press conference. Chad was there. You asked a question about the sponsorship that they've acquired and announced proudly today, its inclusion. What was the answer?
I asked why Bafana.
Why only?
Yeah,
and not the association.
And it was highlighted that, you know, Bafana is a representation, a wider representation, you know, to quote them verbatim, of the nation, the heritage behind Bafana.
Unbelievable.
You know, the history behind Bafana. And nothing was...
Unbelievable.
My words in my question were exactly this. Why Bafana and not Banyana, who are more successful in recent history when it comes to AFCON and FIFA Women's World Cup.
African champions going to the World Cup. You announce a new sponsorship today after what just happened on the weekend. SAFA president sits there, the CEO sits there, and they proudly tell us that no, this does not include them.
I think for me, what we need to do is to deal with issues of equality. But at some point, we must also stop dealing with issues of equality and begin to deal about issues that will advance the interest of sportsmen and sportswomen. Because the issue of equality at this particular point, it's okay, but it might limit us in terms of dealing with these issues. Because, for an example, what we want to do is to say, let's equate women and get them to where Bafana is. But maybe Bafana might not be
I don't agree
anywhere.
with that either.
They might not
I'm
be
the same
anywhere.
with you. I don't agree on that.
They might
I
not
think
be anywhere in terms of...
You pay people their worth.
Absolutely.
Not because
understand?
for somebody else, for the job
well
that
done.
they're doing.
So that's what we need. Those are the discussions that we must have.
But still, you're an association. You're getting money into the association via sponsorships, and you've gone and sold Bafana right now, at this point, with Banyana going to the World Cup and the issues they had on the weekend. Unbelievable. Spusiso Zwane is out in Benoni. Eguruleni, I see David is there taking your calls if you want to have your say. Now is the time. Tula is here, the president of SAFBU. Chad is here. If you have questions about everything we're supposed to talk about, you're going to have to catch it on Soccer Zone this evening where he will be. Where do we start?
I just have one for the president. And I asked it yesterday, Tula, you heard me, you guys obviously didn't comment in front after the mediation talks with the Premier. Where does SAFBU stand in relation to, or in the relationship with SAFA? I know there was a bargaining agreement or MOU signed with the PSL a few years ago. Where do you guys stand with SAFA? I witnessed the hostilities at the entrance of Tsakane Stadium yesterday with some NEC members and SAFA officials. What is the relationship like between you guys?
Look, we do have a cooperation agreement with SAFA, but I think we have not really had the best of relations over a period of time. If we had the best of relations, I think we would have managed these things. But I can tell you that we've got an open policy with the president. I'm able to call the president and we speak about issues. But you see, there's a difference sometimes between talking about issues and being punished on the issues. Because one thing, if you're saying to me, we'll deal with issues, let us deal with them. But as a SAFBU collectively, we have agreed on a process. I mean, this is a process long before the former CEO left, to say we really need to look at the issue of the MOU and how best we then work with it. I mean, we have a relationship with FIFPro International, we have a relationship with CAF at the level of FIFPro, but our relationship is close to non-existent in terms of how we deal with SAFA on matters.
Very quickly, sorry, Chad, very quickly. We need to spare a thought. And PJ John, thank you for bringing this up. And I should have seen this before, when we're still speaking to Skesha. How do you then remunerate players that played on Sunday?
No, absolutely. That is why I said initially we really need to respect those
because
players.
You call them
and
now, and when did you decide how much you're paying them? When did they sign? If anything had happened to those girls, injury or any sort of thing, they were unprotected.
I think our responsibility is very simple, Andile. SAF, of course, when they go into the game with anybody, people must sign at least whether it's a short-term one-game contract. They must sign that. We will follow up and check as to whether they signed the contract.
I can tell you now, they didn't.
What is it that they were promised? What is the remuneration? And it will ensure that they definitely get what's rightfully theirs.
I can't wait. As soon as you have that information, please let us know. Because I can tell you now that there was no contract for those players that went out there. Skesha, as he said, he was on his way home. He got a call. He called every member of his team. He went there with 13-year-olds. The 16-year-olds were taken to play. And they have no idea. They have no idea.
And it would have been great for him to tell you exactly at what time did they receive that call.
He says he received it just after 1 o'clock.
It could not have been just after 1 o'clock because that game was supposed to have been at 3. I'm just sitting.
Yeah, but I mean, what I'm saying is he probably is the last person they called. They probably called other people before. He got a call just after 1 o'clock.
We did cover, Velile got information that some Hollywood Bets clubs also refused to release players in support of the Banyana players who were protesting.
Let's go to the voice notes and then taking your calls.
Yo, we gon' get them. Get connected. WhatsApp the Metro FM studio. 060-552-7303.
Andile, Nicholas here in Cape Town. In South Africa, we are taken for a ride, if not for granted, because we are too soft. How many times have we been complaining about Danny Jordan? And it's supposed they listen to the people. At least hundreds of complaints is quite enough than
than more to come. Because every day people are complaining about Danny Jordan. The country is not happy about Danny Jordan. Simple as that. Why can't they see? Why can't SAFA see that?
Yeah, ma. Uthetha no Abuyile bavuma abegqibek. Yeah, ma. Xa ndijongile i-technical team yeMamelodi Sundowns ingathi iyaqhekeka ngoku, iyaphela la technical team yeMamelodi Sundowns. Nanku uSteve khange kubekho nto ivakalayo ngoSteve uba uSteve angahamba kwamaqela athetha naye athini, kodwa uSteve uvela eyovela ngapha eDonsonville kwi-Swallows eyi-head coach apha. Zindaba ezindothusileyo ezikileyo laa nto le weekend. Ingaba la technical team ye-Sundowns ingaba ayiqhekeki ngolu hlobo ngale ndlela ndibona ngayo?
Andile, Lucky from Winterfeld here. When is Mr. Jordan retiring? Because our football is going nowhere with this man. We have been complaining and complaining, but this man is not retiring. When is he retiring? Because at the end of the day, our football is going nowhere because of this man. Thank you.
Let's take your calls. David, is it David first? David, is that a good David?
Thank you for taking my call, Let me have my input on this SAFA shenanigans. First of all, if we look at SA in England, we look at countries like Zambia. There are tournaments that are sponsored by the National Association that is an equivalent to SAFA. SAFA is a head body of the soccer in South Africa. They are not contributing anything except problems. If we look in a family, there is a father. There is no way my father must always emphasize to tell me that he is my father. I see by their actions. Mr. Danny Jordan has overstayed his welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. I appreciate it. Let's go to Binoni. Swisiswa Zwane is this. Yeah, I know. Strong. Talk to me. Oh, Swisiswa Zwane, Binoni. Thank you so much. Let's go to Samgelo. Samgelo is in Protea Lane. Samgelo. Hey, go for it, boy. Samgelo. Oh, Samgelo. Bad line there. Let's go to Galamana. Sianda's there. Sianda.
Hey, guys. Hope you're well. I just have a few questions, and I'll listen over the phone,
Shoot.
the radio. Firstly, I know that the players are supposed to get 30,000 US, right? Which is around.
That's the minimum. That's the minimum. Yeah.
500,000 rand. So the representative from the union says they were going to be given around 20 to 40,000. Now, is that 40,000 US or 40,000 rand? Secondly, I want to know if FIFA gives players 30,000 rand, 30,000 US, do they give the FA like say a separate money for themselves, or the FA doesn't get any money, and is it just only footballers that get money?
All right, cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
thirdly, a comment, a quick one. Why, when we choose elect the SAFA president, why isn't it done online, and isn't it done by everybody who is in and around football, who should be allowed to vote?
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Yanda. The president will answer some of those there. Let's go to Lunga. Lunga's in Roodepoort. Lunga.
A weekend that was.
Hey, it's a difficult one, this one.
Good evening, Andile and the crew there. Look, my guy, to all the representatives that we are having there, guys, if you want us to clarify everything, this is your platform. You can't be going run around, giving up Andile run around. You know, just go straight forward because those figures are there in the public. You can't be beating around the bush. If you want to build something, let us be solid, let us be united. And then the other thing, Andile, is to put Umdalo's cash under the bus. But anyway.
No, man, I mean, we needed to get clarity as to how that happened. I mean, for me, I think Uskesha was used, and I feel for him. I think his players were used, and I feel for them as well. You know, and this is what power does. Power says, let me look at who it is that I can hold, with a short belt. And Uskesha, was unfortunately a victim in this situation.
But in order to fix everything, we need to get to the root of
Thank you very much.
The problem. Sure.
Lunga, Press, you're last one on this one. The players leave on Wednesday. These matters literally have a 24-hour turnaround time.
We want to assure the players and assure the nation that we were going to negotiate and negotiate very hard. And we know exactly these issues. We've brought them to the public. And yes, indeed, the players get their money, which is public knowledge. The club also gets its own money.
So FIFA gives the players money that we've mentioned, gives each club where the player comes from
let's
money.
Just take this quickly. For group stages, the club will get about 690. If they go for round of 16, they get 1,380,000 per team. I'm just saying per team.
I'm saying the team per player represented.
Yes, absolutely. So at quarterfinal, the team per team they get 2,700,000. So those are the monies that they get. So a player gets, the team gets.
The team where the player comes from gets. And does SAFA get
on
their
top
own
of
allocation?
That, yeah, and on top of that, there's a preparation fee that they need to get, which is about 1 million.
Does SAFA get their own allocation, or do
they get their own allocation? They get their own allocation.
SAFA gets $1.5 million US, which is about 30 million rand.
So therefore, the money that is supposed to go to the players is not supposed to be taxed in any way. So when we speak to SAFPU tomorrow and we report on that, the players will have a minimum of $30,000 that is due to them.
That's a minimum as per guaranteed.
Yes, guaranteed minimum.
Yeah.
That is a minimum that is going to be.
That's a minimum.
Are we going to hear figures from you guys when we speak to you tomorrow?
No, definitely going to hear figures. But surely, I mean, you see, the problem here is, Andile, is that we have agreed to a process.
No, it's fine.
And I'm not going to sit here and say, no, we're going to be saying to SAFA tomorrow we want 3,000.
Is Dennis Jordan good for South African football?
Well, I think right now it's about time that we really look at football holistically to say what
that was a question asked to you.
And we've addressed, yes, no, absolutely, we have addressed these issues. I've addressed this issue with the president, by the way, in terms of the succession, where we're going, what is the plan, and going forward. So we do.
Is that
talk
a political
about
way to say
we
should move on from the current management?
No, but we need to look. I mean, Andile, I was on your show. We spoke about the 2022 vision to say there's the 2022. Let us look at it and say how far have we come? Have we achieved this thing? Do we need somebody else going forward? Faith just said they're talking about the new leadership at the Youth League that will take us forth. So we need to have those discussions. We need to talk about it. We are young people. We really need to say 10, 15 years from now, where do we want to see ourselves? Those discussions must be had.
We are here. Phela Phela Ngantsong.